see y'all. So good to see y'all. Thank y'all for coming out tonight for your city, for where you live, for where you stay, to support, to educate yourself, and to speak up. We hope that you will speak up tonight. We hope that you'll ask questions. We hope that you don't feel shy. We want you to feel comfortable. So go ahead and get that jitter out, and I'm going to wait and hear what somebody else got to say. No, each and every one of you guys have concerns, and we want to hear them. The city council wants to hear them. So what we want to do is we want to kind of get y'all warmed up, okay? We don't want y'all going cold when they, ask questions and they get in front of you. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something similar to what we're doing with the actual council. We're going to give you 45 seconds to pretty much answer this question that I'm going to pose to you. I'm going to come up to you, raise your hand, stand up, you say what you got to say, and then when you finish after 45 seconds, we're going to slip on away to the next person. Is that all right? That's cool with y'all? Come on, y'all, let's get warmed up. Let's get warmed up. Y'all look cold. We got to get this together, because if we don't speak up, if we don't do something, if we don't get warmed up in this city and in this election, then we can't get mad, right? We can't get mad because we wasn't warm. We was cold, okay? So let me tell you what the question is. It's real simple, not hard, not difficult or anything like that. But the question is, concerning the future of our city, right? What is on your mind? What's on your mind? Concerning the future of our city, what's on your mind? Okay? You got something? Sure, go ahead. Warm up.
Sade Edwards, City Commissioner. On my mind is the gap, bridging the gap between our youth and our adults. I think there's a big disconnect in what's required to stand up for yourself, speak up for yourself, justice in general, advocating for yourself. I don't think our children know how to do that within the classroom, let alone within this kind of setting or in the city itself. So giving them the education, the language to wrap around their everyday lives, and bridging that gap. Because right now it's like this, and they don't know how to communicate with us, and we don't know how to communicate with them. And so if we could do something about that, then maybe this transition and succession of power would be a little bit easier, because they would understand what's next.
She warm. Okay. Come on, who else got something to say? Can I get anybody else? Concerning the future of our city, what's on your mind? And I would love to hear.
So my name is Jason Hicks. I'm particularly interested in how this council in the future will address the disparity of the police stopping black people 66% more than they stop white constituents across the whole city.
Okay. All right. He might be warm too. Oh, and she says she got some. Let me come on this side. I got you. You ready? Sis, ready. Okay. All right, what's on your mind?
How do we trust you and we do not even know you? That's the main concern. The only time that we know you is when it's time to vote. That's when we see your presence. That's not it. The only person that I trust that I have not seen is the Lord. Okay? I know, y'all go ahead.
Worship, yeah, as her. Bless. Go ahead. Okay. Somebody else. Come on, we warming up. I feel it. It's moving. Who else got something? Oh, you got something. What's on your mind?
I would say, how do we know who to vote for as younger adults, or just anybody, when sometimes the presentation, the personalities, before you know who your audience is, isn't always the best?
I feel like you had more. I was intrigued. Oh my goodness. I like that right there. Come on, anybody else? Oh, what is on your mind? The cameraman, y'all let the cameraman get it in before you did. Go ahead.
So one of my concerns is that, in politics, we've seen so much talk, and sometimes not enough action behind the talk once they get elected. So one of my biggest concerns is after all of this talk, whoever gets elected, is the action coming behind that they told us we would see?
I believe they say clock it is what they say. I believe they say clock it. Anybody else? Anybody on this side concerning the future of our city? You got another one? Oh, back here. Yes, sir, coming right to you. You know, I'm trying to strut a little bit. Hold on, let me get there. He made me walk. Hold on, let me turn around. What's going on?
Well, you know, I'm a prophet of God, for one. But my overall concern is homelessness in this city and how it's being played out. Got homelessness all over the place. I just rode past a girl sleeping underneath the bridge, and she's mentally disturbed. So how can we fix that? So how are we going to go about fixing that?
My goodness. Okay. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Come on, we're getting warm, y'all. We getting warmed up. Y'all making me, I'm going to get warm before everybody else because I'm doing all this walking. Okay, come on now. What is on your mind concerning the future of our city?
I'm going to say resources. There's lots of things going on in the world, people going through things, homelessness, poverty. So if you get out there, you do the footwork, you find like-minded people because it also plays into mental health. So getting around a group of people who are like-minded, you know, you can come up and, you know, work together and become a team and get things done.
Okay. Speak it on, sister. Anyone else? Oh, yes, ma'am. Love to hear you. What's on your mind?
My name is Austin. I've been in Greensboro for probably about 30 years, and I've seen the growth, I've seen the progress. What I keep hearing, though, is downtown Greensboro. Greensboro consists of more than downtown. I can drive out northwest Greensboro, and it's great. I drive southeast Greensboro, and they don't even look like the same city. And that needs to change. I mean, we got tax dollars too. That needs to change.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's a good point. That's a good point. Anybody else? Anybody else got a warming up comment? You said you had another one. Did I have another comment? Let me get her real quick. Is that fine? Excuse me. What is on your mind?
I would like them to be a little more clear on what exactly is happening with the education lottery, because we have a lot of schools, a lot of children that are without supplies, without assistance. And if we have an education lottery that's constantly being poured into, we just need to know where is that money actually going.
Okay, we hitting on something now. We hitting on something. We got to keep going, y'all. We're going to keep warming up, and it's important to do this because you got to warm up your justice vocal cords, okay? People have been tired. People have been thinking things. We have to educate ourselves, and we have to ask those who would like to be our elected officials how to do this. You got something? Yes, sir.
George Hartzman, Public Integrity Watch. It seems like the downtown plan is to give millions of dollars to developers and makers of a beautiful downtown Greensboro. Yet at the same time, what it seems like the end goal is to keep as many black people out of downtown so the property owners can make money off of the other side of town right next to the east side of Greensboro.
You know, if we was playing Uno, I would not make you draw any cards. I wouldn't make you draw 2 or 5. You would be fine. I would just skip you. It's fine. Here you go. What's on your mind concerning the future of our city?
What are the candidates gonna do to help small businesses or black-owned businesses in Greensboro?
We do thrive. If our small businesses thrive, we thrive. Did you have one? What's on your mind?
Hi. So, as a former graduate of North Carolina A&T, I recently purchased a new home in Eastern Greensboro. And when I was at A&T, there was a food desert, obviously near Summit, and there still is a food desert near that area. So I believe that we all deserve on Eastern Greensboro to have access to fresh food within a mile radius of us.
You know, I agree. I do like me a good Publix and things. I do enjoy it. Is there anybody else? We might be, whoa. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I'm doing great. Question would be, there's a lot of money pouring into the JJ system after the kids have gotten into the JJ system. Where are the funds to help with the crime prevention to keep them out of the JJ system for youth?
Okay, explain. Tell the people what the JJ system is.
Juvenile justice. So once they go into the system, all the money is poured into programs to help them rehabilitate. But what about rehabilitating before they get into the system?
See, your claps went up. You had to educate. Look, now we got more questions. I'm telling you, y'all, they're going to be in trouble. Do we feel warm? Do you feel like you might could say something? Do you feel like your vocal cords have something to say? Because if not, then I need you to practice even more. You've gotten cards on your chairs. You have things that you can write on. You want to take notes. You want to learn. You want to ask. Because November 4th, y'all, is when you vote. And it's right there. And we can no longer continue to play around with something so serious. I can play around and tell jokes because I have the mic right now. But we shouldn't do that with important things like our vote. Is that all right with y'all? Do I have anybody else that wants to say something about the future of our city? Does anybody else have anything that's on their mind? You want their mind?
So as a sophomore student at A&T, I'm a psychology student, and I have a few friends who are seniors, and they had to leave Greensboro because there weren't a lot of opportunities for our major. So how is that going to be changed?
Ooh, that one hits home for me. That one hits home for me. Y'all can clap for that one. Yeah. I graduated from the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. And I stayed for a lot of different reasons, but I would love to see Greensboro have more to offer those who decide to stay and make the city great. Is that all right? Did you say you had another comment and you had one as well? Sure.
A few years ago, the city went to the depot system for the school buses. On my way here, it was after 6 o'clock, and I meet a school bus dropping off kids. Okay, that's a longer day than our work day. Wow. How do they get home? They eat, they do their homework, they spend time with their family if they're getting home and it's already dark. We got to get these kids home sooner.
Amen.
Concern for the future is as we have more developers coming in, and Greensboro is now one of the second largest growing cities in North Carolina. How do we keep our folks up here on the right side and not letting these people develop on land that is flood zone? Because most of southeast Greensboro now, there's so many projects going on that they want to put these apartment complexes on, but they're actually flood zone areas. If you know anything about Gold's Gym, right behind there, that whole, we have a deep rain, they're gone. I mean, washing away. It's flooding. And so, but the city is making these decisions because of money, right? We know that. We know what drives it. But what can we do to maintain that integrity and still be one of the fastest growing cities in North Carolina?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we want to continue this conversation, and I'm so grateful again that you guys have joined us today. So if you have anybody, text somebody. If you don't see somebody here, text somebody, post it, let them know there is still time. We're about to get started. We're about to go deeper. We're about to show y'all something, okay? So y'all stay warm, and And thank you. Also, because November 4th is happening next week, we really want to ask people to get engaged with us to come vote. So we will be looking to go vote on November 4th, or even in early voting, which is this Saturday is the last Saturday for early voting. What does that mean? That means that you can actually, this is the last Saturday you can go and register and vote at a closer poll or something without having to go venture off to some of these different ones they're splitting off on, or the weird ones that you don't know about. You can still go together as a group, no matter what part of the city you live in. So you really want to take advantage of that in early voting, and if we would love for you to engage with us. And the last question is, we want to ask the people, how can we get you guys to be more engaged in voting? People tell you what you should do, and I just told you and suggested to you what you should do. But asking you, if somebody came to you, what would it take to get you more engaged in voting in all the elections? What would it take? That's a question. Let me know who's ready to answer. What would it take to get you to be more engaged in voting?
More engaged. What you have to do is pinpoint it back to, map it back to how it directly affects them. When people feel like it doesn't affect them, they don't vote, they don't show up. You saw in early voting, it was crazy. 10% of registered voters, like that's insane. But when people see how it affects their communities, like the whole SNAP going away, baby, I don't get SNAP, but it's gonna affect me. Why? My husband's a truck driver. So it's gonna affect whether he's shipping stuff in from, I think once people realize that, baby, this does affect you. And then also we, the ones that are here, and we're like, man, we're doing all the best we can right now. We here, aren't we? But we got to go out to those recreation centers and whole little neighborhood meetings and say, hey, they want to build this in your backyard. They built Amazon, and now all Southeast Greensboro has brown water. But they don't understand that that affects them. So I think if we kind of map it back and say, hey, this is not an overall, this is not a big picture. This is a small picture. This is your neighborhood. Then maybe they'll come out. And then put things in layman's terms. I think if you talk over people's heads, they're more apt not to want to participate.
Okay. I think everybody agrees. Does anybody else want to piggyback off that? You have a comment to it?
I think more teaching on democracy within our school systems, within our children, within our youth, just to teach them what democracy means. They took it out of schools. They took home economics out of school. They took EPS out of school. I know we had to go through a whole democracy, economics. You had to know all of those things in school. These kids are not knowing it now.
What? Sure. Piggyback. Okay.
I agree with that 100%. As a educator, we are not allowed to do any type of votes in the classroom unless we send it to the parent first. So you can't vote on your favorite movie, your favorite snack, or anything as simple as that, because of, you know, the way the world is. So we do have to get it back into even just the basic stuff, back into our school system. So I agree with that 100%.
Student government in schools, high school. Some schools have it, some schools don't. What happened? Because we've always had it in middle school and high school. And that's part of teaching democracy.
So not showing what voting looks like early is what you're saying. We need to continue to show what it looks like early. Is there another comment? Oh, right here?
So I would like to piggyback off of like the Amazon being built and the brown water. So I hear a lot of things. I work for a Toyota battery plant. And so with that being said, I have heard things about how that is affecting Greensboro as well. And with that being said, if we had jobs out here in Greensboro that paid just as well as jobs out in Liberty, we wouldn't probably have to worry about the brown water from Liberty to Greensboro. So I believe you know, I was 15. I started out working 15. I remember McDonald's stumping the grounds for $15 for pay. And I'm just now, being 27 years old, being able to reach almost $30.
Well, yeah. Fix where the money goes. Heck, I got you. Hold on. My guest said she wanted to go first. No, it's fine. I'm coming back. I'm gonna walk back to you though. It's okay, y'all here.
Once again, it's the footwork. If the parents at home can teach your children boots on the ground, you can teach them the importance of voting. At the end of the day, it is also the trust with the people up here. I cannot express how important it is for the people up here to be in their own community even before you have been elected. That means so much. There's a few people up here that, and it's irritating to me because there are a few people up here that I just literally noticed probably weeks before they wanted me to vote for them, basically, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it, but I stand firm. I stand firm for a brother that sits up here because even though that brother did not make it, he still stayed in our community. He still stayed in our community. He still tried to make sure that things were right in our community, even though that brother lost. Even though this other sister lost, they stayed in our community, so they definitely have my vote.
Well, engage in the community. That's how. Who else had a comment? Back over here? Sure. Cameraman, I promise you, you next after I do boots on the ground, because that's what we said we was teaching. Here you go.
Hi, I think it's two parts to this problem. It's an information problem, first of all, in terms of people actually feeling like they're actually armed to go ready to the polls to actually vote for someone, but then it's also a motivation problem, because I feel like people need to feel like they're listened to before they want to give someone their support. And I feel like a lot of times we hear candidates talking to us about their programs and telling people what they want, instead of actually listening, so people feel talked to instead of listened to, and they don't want to actually get involved. But I think a big reason for that is because we know that a lot of politics is engaged with money. We know that these candidates have those motivations, and when we see those donor lists, we realize those are the people they're listening to and not the majority of residents. And I think that prevents a lot of people from feeling motivated to actually vote.
Ooh, not hitting the pockets. She telling on the pockets. That's real tough. Anybody else had a comment? Cameraman.
Hi. So, she was right. We on the same wavelength. Because I was going to say, what would have helped me to be more engaged just in the political arena sooner is if I had more events like this, especially in the communities that I lived. Because the first city council summit that was held, it was great. We heard from everyone. But hearing and seeing the people that would represent me in my district made me, I paid more attention to them. Hearing everyone's great. But if you're not in my district, it's a little different. But hearing those that were in my district speak would have meant a lot more if they came to the district, held something within the district, Yeah.
Well, I mean, to that point, there are forums held all the time. There's a lot of forums held. So it just goes to being another tool that's supposed to help engage us in voting. But the forums are not packed out. Like my sister said, we're here doing the work. So how do you get those who are not packing out those forums, who are not going into the places and getting the education that we're trying to get tonight? What do you do to get them engaged? What do you say?
Go to them. I think the candidates who are going to people's doors and talking to them and listening to them and telling them what the city council does in their neighborhood, that's how you get people to see what the issue is, why they need to be engaged, what their direct stake is if they're not coming to you, you go to them.
Okay. All right, yeah. Yep. Yes, ma'am. Coming this way. How you doing?
I'm horrible at speaking. But to reiterate what Mr. Cameraman said, you talk about the forums. I mean, I'm not the smartest probably spoke on the tree, but I have been Googling trying to find forums, Greensboro City Council forum, and I have not been able to find it out there. This thing popped up on my Instagram feed or something like that, and then, you know, to get a ticket, it was like, you know, click this, you know, click this, and it was not made easy. And again, I'm not an idiot. It's just, it was difficult to find forums, and are these the only people who will be speaking tonight? Because I don't see any people from my district, which I was hoping to get a little bit more information. So, is this just like for certain districts or what?
No, it's whoever wanted to come. Yes.
Good to know. People from my district are here, so.
Well, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're here. You have another comment? Oh, and we have someone over here. Let me get her. I'll come back over here to you. Here we go. Y'all making me walk again. This is going to be a real good comment, right? I feel like all the boots on the ground is going to bring me over here.
So I think it's also a matter of like the pool of candidates we usually have. They are just so basic. They don't even try a lot of times. And they don't inspire us to actually want to vote because they don't have an inspiring message or solutions to the problems that we have going on. They often run on the same thing, like community safety. Oh, we'll just back our police. But it's like, our police got a lot of issues. What solution do you have for the actual police doing better? What do you have for like actually like making real things happen and not just like running on slogans and like arbitrary issues that only apply to a very specific set of likely donors?
Well, my. Well, you know, I mean, it's important. And we know that it's not tough being up here. We know that it's not tough running the race. They did choose this job, or they're trying to choose this job. But we need to give them something to listen to. So this is exactly what we're doing right now. You're giving them something to run, like my brother said, on a better race, something more concentrated. This is what we're doing right now. What's it?
I just want to piggyback on what he said. I think it is a campaign issue. You hear them talk about growing Greensboro and backing the police, but you never hear them talk about, you know, rising rent, flatlining wages, right? You don't talk about homelessness unless they're talking about it as a general vague problem as it continues to grow. But all they ever talk about is growing Greensboro. Growing it what way?
Man. Y'all let me tell you, we started cold, but y'all out here, you heading towards red hot chili pepper in a minute. You know, it's hot out here. Anybody else? Did I miss? I'm going to get your comment about engaging in voting. Well, no, I told you to warm up. I can't tell you to not warm up now. That's not how that works.
Okay, my idea to grow engagement, where are the children? Where are the teenagers? Why are they not here? Bring them to things like this and then go home and discuss it. Let them know why it's important from local to state to federal. A lot of people don't understand the dynamic between the Senate and the House. They don't understand because I see us not coming out. We'll vote in the general election. Midterms, we don't show up. Because a lot of people don't understand how important to keep control over those two chambers of Congress is. But we really need to get our kids to meetings like this, take them with us when we go vote, and discuss why we're doing it and why it's important.
Wholeheartedly agree. Get everybody around you involved, bring them to the forums, bring them to the places, bring them to these spaces. We have to wrap it up right now. I have to get off from in front of y'all. But I want you to know this is not the end. Please stay engaged. Please stay looking out. Please go ahead and continue to read up on the candidates, listen, write down, and take some of the advice that everybody in this room has started to go ahead and give out. Thank you guys for warming up with your girl. I can't wait to see the rest of it.
they have split North Carolina A&T into separate districts.
The mother of Ahmaud Arbery.
Overnight, nationwide unrest following the death of George Floyd.
The reason why young people, millennials, Gen Zers are in these streets is not because they're filled with rage, it's because they're filled with righteousness. Here in Louisville, Kentucky. Give me a sanctuary. There's a storm out on the ocean, and it's moving this whole way. If your soul is not anchored in justice, you will surely drift away. Graham, what do we want? And when do we want it? But that don't mean it's time to go to sleep. Your marching shoes are worn out. Go and buy you some more.
The change that we want to see is not going to come from 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
These next 4 years, we're going to have some struggling times. But we got to remember what Frederick Douglass said. We can't get depressed because of the struggle. We got to celebrate the struggle.
This is the last question, and it's a yes or no. Everybody, yes or no? You can abstain, it's free country. If the President of the United States of America declared that Greensboro, North Carolina was an unsafe city and that the National Guard would be sent to our city, what would be your response to the President, yes or no? Mr. Smith?
I'm going to abstain to that. It's not a local issue. I'm sorry.
Okay, they locally will be coming to the city of Greensboro. It's okay. I got you on your abstention. Zach not here. Ms. Parker? Yes or no?
I'm sorry. Say the question again. I'm sorry.
Pass the mic. Pass the mic, baby.
It's about Trump? No, I'm not doing it.
Thank you.
No.
Abstain.
No.
Absolutely not.
Abstain.
No.
No.
Not just no.
No.
No, Mr. President. I've got this.
Absolutely not. No.
Robin?
Abstain.
No.
I'll say it. Hell no.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming out to Piedmont Hall today.
My name is Taylor Thomas, and I am a recent graduate and current grad student at the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. I have also been a very proud member of the Citadel Church for the past 3 years. We work extremely hard on civic and community engagement, and I hope that our hard work shows itself today. Greensboro isn't just where I live, it's home. And that's why this summit matters to me. I care about the direction our city is about to be headed into, and I believe that we all have a part in where our city is going. So, welcome again, and I hope you all enjoy tonight's summit. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Elijah Lewis.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elijah Lewis. I am an 8-year member of the Citadel and one of the founding members of Justice for the Next Generation. And this evening, I would like to offer us a prayer. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you for our life, our health, and our strength. We thank you for this opportunity to come together as a community, God, in this crazy time that we're living in the midst of this season in 2025. God, we just thank you that we are here in love. We thank you that we're here in peace, and we thank you that we have an opportunity to speak out on the issues that have come before us. God, we believe that in the midst of this time that change would come, that healing would come, and that we would come closer as a people and come closer to you. So Lord, just be in the midst of this entire meeting and just help us to be better at the end of it all. Lord, we just trust and believe in you right now. This in Jesus' name we do pray. Amen. And now I'll be introducing Madison Jones, Miss James B. Dudley High School.
Good evening. How are y'all doing tonight? That's good. As stated before, my name is Madison Jones, and I am the Miss Dudley for Miss James Benson Dudley High School for the 2025-2026 academic school year. Thank you. Moreover, I am proud to share that I am a lifetime member of the Citadel Church. For the past 18 years, my twin brother and I have called the Citadel our home. Through those years, we have been taught the true meaning of leadership and community service through this ministry and our pastor, Reverend Greg Drumwright. He not only planted the seed of leadership within us, but also inspired countless other students to discover their purpose and use their voices for positive change. Reverend Drumwright has always reminded us that our voice and our vote matter, and that we have a responsibility to use both to stand for justice and uplift our communities. It brings me great joy to greet you as a young community leader, and I'm looking forward to an amazing summit. Thank you all for joining us. And now, allow me to introduce Mr. Haywood McCoy.
Good evening. In these uncertain times, the consequences of elections have mattered more now than ever. It's important to engage with anybody that steps up to run for office. My name is Haywood McCoy, a former student, a humble laborer and operator, a coaching and training professional, and a proud member of Justice for the Next Generation. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the City Council Summit. In just a few moments, it will be our pleasure to platform your concerns, and we encourage you to lift your voice. So thank you for being here tonight, and welcome to the conversation. I have the honor of introducing our host for tonight. He's regarded as being today's voice for tomorrow's generation. He's the proud alum and former SGA president of the illustrious North Carolina and Agricultural Technical State University. He is also a graduate of Wake Forest University's Divinity Program. He is an active member of Guilford County's Planning Board and statewide representative for North Carolina's Court Commission appointed by the governor. Most noticeably to me, he is the founding pastor of 22 years of the Citadel Church. He's been like a father to me, and I credit his mentorship for my growth, my concern for justice, and my civic engagement thus far. But before we bring out the man, we want to share with you the ministry.
Born in a city where many come to learn and depart to lead.
Was a vision to reach souls.
To be transformed by God's Holy Spirit.
Saved from a world of darkness.
And loved unconditionally in the Imago Dei.
We are the Citadel.
We exist out of our desire to fulfill the Lord's call.
To pray without ceasing.
To stand up for justice, for the poor and the marginalized.
To feed the hungry and heal the hurting. To serve and embrace beloved community.
We're centered in Christ, enveloped by love and light.
We are the Citadel.
We're motivated by our many struggles.
A faith community whose weaknesses are also its strengths, with an incredible journey.
Worshiping from place
to place
to place
to place, all in an effort to find a home.
We are Citadel.
We are Citadel.
We are Citadel.
We are Citadel.
We are Citadel. We are Citadel.
We are Citadel.
We are Citadel.
I humbly ask that you please stand as we honor and welcome our host, Reverend Greg Drumwright, and pastor of the Citadel.
Please be seated. I did not know what they were going to say, so this is a joint effort between many of our young and, I'm proud to say, engaged youth at our 85% millennial church, and Justice for the Next Generation, our civic engagement efforts. So thank you all for being here tonight. I'm excited about the summit. We wanted to make sure that you all felt comfortable, so we turned up the heat a little bit. That's the heat that comes out the vents. Now we're going to turn up the heat to engage what's going on in our city. Please allow me to share the purpose of our event. Our inspiration was solely to increase public awareness around this municipal election, for greater voter engagement. We hear so much regret, not just here, but everywhere, about how there is a lack of awareness and a lack of voter turnout. And it's going to take a lot more work to change that. I just want to say thank you all for being here to be a part of that change tonight. As we prepare for the summit, let me acquaint you with what this is. This is the Clarke card. This is something that is solely ours, that we have coined in these settings, that once raised, it gives a candidate an opportunity to interrupt the discussion at the next opportunity to recall a comment and respond. Thusly, y'all say it with me, clocking it. All right, so candidates will be acknowledged when they raise the clock it card. You may notice that a number of candidates that are still running in this race are missing. There were too many reasons for me to stand here and line them all out. However, we want you to know that we invited all of the candidates, and many of them had conflicts tonight. We should pray for everybody who has stepped up to run a race. With that being said, I'd like to introduce our esteemed guests tonight, those who are running in these races, for these seats in this race, starting with District 1. And I would just encourage you to clap for everybody, not just your folk, but everybody that's gracing the dais tonight. Starting in District 1, Miss Crystal Black. Miss Black is a lifelong Southeast Greensboro resident, and proven community service advocate with over 2 decades of service. She's worked across education, government, and grassroots initiatives to advance youth development, environmental justice, equitable city planning, and she's here tonight to advance her race for City Council. The incumbent, Miss Sharon Hightower. Councilwoman Hightower is running for re-election to represent District 1 on the Greensboro City Council, continuing her focus on housing, community growth, and accountability. A graduate of East Carolina and Liberty University, she brings experience as a real estate paralegal and longtime community service advocate. Ms. Hightower remains committed to uplifting East Greensboro and expanding quality and attainable housing. Ms. Sharon Hightower. Here tonight, running in District 2, is Cecile Crawford. Ms. Crawford is running for District 2 seat on the City Council, bringing a lifelong commitment to housing, justice, and fair wages. As a program director for the American Friends Service Committee, she's led eviction prevention efforts and co-founded the Keep Gate City Housing Coalition. Cecile's leadership as vice chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission reflects her dedication to building a fair, people-first Greensboro. Running for District 2, Miss Cecile Crawford, everybody. Running in District 4 is Mr. Adam Marshall. Mr. Marshall rooted his lifelong connection to the community that he calls home in Greensboro, North Carolina. He is a practicing attorney with nearly 17 years of experience and a 2025 Leader in the Law Award recipient. Adam has served on several key city boards, including chairing both the Zoning Commission and the Criminal Justice Advisory Commission. He is committed to a strong city government, public safety, and thoughtful community growth. Mr. Adam Marshall is here with us tonight, everybody. Running in District 5 is Miss Tammy Thurm. Miss Thurm is running for re-election as she is the incumbent to represent District 5 upon the City Council, where she has served since 2017. A UNCG graduate with a background in finance, she has held executive roles in local businesses and led across several community organizations. Tammy is known for listening to residents and working collaboratively to improve housing, city services, and quality of life. She remains committed to building a stronger, more connected Greensboro for all. Miss Tammy Thurm, everyone. Candidates running at large with us tonight, Mr. Irvin Alling. Irvin is running for Greensboro City Council at large, bringing over 13 years of experience as a community organizer, advocate, and mentor in Greensboro. He is a graduate of Dudley High School and the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, where he has led major local initiatives around police accountability, youth engagement, literacy, and social justice. Mr. Irvin is interested in building strong partnerships, not just here, but statewide. His priorities include protecting voter rights, strengthening public education, and expanding affordable housing to support families and communities across Greensboro. Mr. Irvin Allen is here tonight with us. Ms. Jamila Pender, current candidate for re-election and the incumbent for Greensboro City Council at large. Ms. Pender is known for her long history of community advocacy and service here in Greensboro. She currently serves as Director of Community Engagement and Impact at Cone Health Foundation, and she has served on nearly 24 city boards. Her priorities include expanding affordable housing, supporting local businesses, improving infrastructure, and strengthening community-centered public safety. Ms. Jamila Pender is here with us tonight. And finally, our mayoral candidates. Mary Kay Abuzwaiter, current Mayor Pro Tem. Ms. Abuzwaiter is running for mayor of Greensboro, building on more than a decade of service as an at-large member of the City Council since 2011. A former small business owner with years of experience in city planning and transportation policy, Mary Kay has played a key role in strengthening Greensboro's infrastructure and community partnerships. She is deeply engaged in community service and is dedicated to building Greensboro toward a safer, stronger, and more connected future. Miss Mary Kay Abuzwaiter. And finally, Mr. Robbie Perkins. Mr. Robbie Perkins is running for mayor of Greensboro, drawing on his previous leadership experience and long history of working across business, civic, and community groups. During his prior term, he helped set city priorities, supported economic development, and passed budgets without raising property taxes. He is running on a platform that is focusing on public safety, attainable housing, and strong planning to move Greensboro from good to great. Mr. Robbie Perkins, former mayor, is running for mayor of Greensboro. Can you clap it up for all of the candidates that had the courage to step over into tonight's City Council Summit? And thank you all for being here and for braving pouring rain. Finally, I am esteemed to make one further introduction. If you haven't noticed, there's somebody that's missing on the dais. It is the moderator whose work went viral last month. And we owe her a debt of gratitude, not just because she served us in our last summit, but because she is still working after 30 years in public broadcasting. Dr. Irish Spencer is an award-winning communications and management professional with over 30 years and counting in broadcasting. Throughout her career, she has worked with and led multiple radio stations, recognized for her warm, engaging, style rooted in faith and community. She can be heard every Saturday at noon on 90.1 WNAA, where her long-running Wild Irish Rose show is her way of giving back to her beloved alma mater, North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Our moderator, Dr. Irish Spencer. I want to make sure that you know persons seated around you. So I'll give you 15 seconds to introduce or reintroduce yourself so that everyone will feel welcome here tonight. And thereafter, we'll turn it over into the hands of our moderator. Thank you all again. And thank you to the parishioners of Citadel and the hardworking committee members of Justice for the Next Generation. Let's have a great summit.
I got a hot mic back here and a hot man next to me. He's asking, do I need any help? How's everybody up top? Oh, you look good. You do. I tell you, I love doing this for them because the backdrop, the look, is just so top shelf. Y'all give it up for the Citadel Church. That's right. That's how they do. And for those that didn't come tonight, well, we won't talk about that. We're going to start with a question. I know he told you about the Clarke card, and I know y'all remember that Clarke card from the last time. It gets a little deep with the Clarke card. You all will see that. You might want to go ahead and text some folks and tell them they need to come on outside and see this for themselves, because folks seem to make up stuff when they don't know the truth. So off the rip, each one of my candidates are going to get 2 minutes to answer this question. How will you ensure the city is balancing the need for development and redevelopment for all districts, and that proportionate dollars are invested to preserve the character and livability of our neighborhoods? And we're going to start with Sharon Hightower.
Can you hear me?
Yes, baby.
Okay. Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for having me. So to start off with that question is to say that continuing to build that relationship with those developers, both large and small developers that have been interested in helping to grow all districts, and to ensure that fairness happens when there's good development. We have to have responsible growth. And so responsible growth takes into consideration the areas that you are developing in and how that actually looks. And it takes in the people that are actually in those areas, and to ensure that money goes fairly now into underserved areas where it has not been invested before, to make sure our tax dollars benefit everyone and not just one side of town. But it's to have those open dialogues and those honest conversations, not behind the closed doors, but out front, to make sure people understand the purpose of this city and how we have to grow it, and how it's been far behind in some years. And so you got to continue to fight that fight. And I have done that. Sometimes it's a rough fight uphill to get people to really understand what that fairness looks like, because there are certain sides of town that don't see the disparities, but to identify those disparities and then the dollars that we need to put in certain areas so that we all start to be lifted up to be the same across the city.
Thank you. And you each get 2 minutes for this question. Cecile, do you need me to repeat, or are you good?
I'm good, thank you. So the first thing that we need to do is to bring community in. Too many times the way that our communities are built out and developed and redeveloped is done without the folks who live in those communities and their engagement and their feedback. So that's the first thing that I want to do. We have to come up with a strategy of how we work with builders and make sure that they do their due diligence in speaking with the communities in which they're going to build. We need to make sure that they are also engaging the community in a realistic way. In other words, they need to be listening. Also, we need to build the infrastructure across Greensboro in areas that have not been designated for grocery stores. We have been knocking doors in Reedy Fork, and I like to use that as an example because it's a beautiful community. I mean, it's growing, there's beautiful homes, there's mixed income, and yet the thing that we hear when we're knocking on doors is, I want a grocery store. I want to be able to go and grab a jacket when I need it. I want to be able to go and have a meal with my family. And yet, we talk about having rooftops as the thing that we need to have grocery stores, and yet they're missing them too. And so we really need to have a strategy of how we're building out infrastructure. Got a road to 10,000. We got to talk about code enforcement. When we're talking about redevelopment, that money needs to go into upfitting some of these complexes that we're seeing students and our elderly living in on fixed incomes, unable to have safe and affordable homes. We need to go ahead and start strengthening up that code enforcement so that we can actually make this road to 10,000. And last, we need to make sure, again and again, that community is at the table.
Thank you. And I believe we should have cards passed around. If you want to write your questions down, we're going to prepare for that after this round of questioning. I've also been asked if our candidates could hold the microphone below your chin, our photographers, as well as we need to make everybody a movie star. So if you can hold it down below, that would help us get that lovely smile into our face. So Miss Black.
Can you hear me? Okay. I'd like to first start saying that, just to echo what I've heard about listening to the community is very clear about what they'd like to see, and I think council needs to start responding in that way. When we look at some of the infrastructure in some of our communities, it does start with code enforcement. I think that code enforcement is not necessarily the enforcement part, but it's a way to uplift communities. When you have abandoned homes, apartment complexes that are being ignored, it really feels like you're not listening to community when you come and build new complexes in the spots where they already have existing problems. So we need to deal with what is existing that needs to be addressed. We need to assess where the imbalances are. When we talk about how we build and develop, there are inequities in our different districts. We cannot continue to concentrate poverty in districts 1 and 2. Districts 3, 4, and 5, which 5 is starting to get some, Tammy. We, when we are looking at affordable housing, everyone has to be able to carry the load. You can't put the load all in one district and expect a district to thrive. We have too many examples in Greensboro of how food deserts are created. And while we continue to perpetuate that cycle of creating them by development, I'm not sure, but I know that our council is at the table and has the discussions with developers, and the advocacy has to be there.
Thank you. Ms. Pender.
Can you hear me?
If our tech team can monitor the microphones on and off, and we can leave the mics on up top, I think we should be able to, you won't have to waste time doing that. Let's see.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. I want to focus on all districts. And as an at-large member, I just want to echo the fact that as an at-large, you're not just focusing on one particular district, but you're looking at the city as a whole. And so when I look at the city as a whole, when you hotspot something, there are many districts across throughout many of the districts across our city, there are opportunities to how do we address housing. So one, I would like to just reference all districts. Two, I would like to look at some of the work that's happening now. So when you're talking about
areas of corridor improvement. So when you look at the corridor improvement work, that spills over into our neighborhoods and communities. And right now there are dollars in our budget that's allocated to look at how can we have opportunity corridors to be able to start some of that revitalization that we want to see in the city. So I would continue to work on that. I would also talk a little bit about how we are describing affordable housing and what affordable housing looks like across our city. So you have extreme low income, you have low income, then you have moderate income, and moderate income would consist of some of our workforce housing. So how do we make sure we have housing across our city that encompasses our moderate income earners in our city? And so looking at it from that standpoint, looking at our opportunity corridors where we actually have funds in the budget right now to be able to help support some of that. And then looking at some of the properties that we have in our city that could be used for mixed use development. And so to me, I feel like it's an opportunity for enforcing code enforcement, because we have the policies on book to be able to do it, so it's in enforcing them. But then two, also looking at how do we think differently and make sure we have shared language on what's available and how do we communicate that more, because again, there's lots of things that's happening in the city. We just need to communicate that, and my question would be how best to communicate the things that's happening in our city, and we build from that, because there are great things that's happening in our city and areas for opportunity.
Thank you. Okay, next up. I'm trying to see. Oh, yeah, there we go. Here, baby.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to take about 10 seconds to first wish my father, Reverend Steve Allen, a happy birthday. I'm here tonight instead of with him for his 70th birthday, so I want to acknowledge that. For this particular question, I think that we have to look at our entire span of history in Greensboro. Yes, we must acknowledge the good things that happen, but these seats and this board comes with a history. And so we have to acknowledge the history that has been done. If we want to talk about equity in our city, then we have to acknowledge how we got to this point, and we have to govern with that history of how we got here. And that will lead us to making the proper investments for the underserved communities that we see, because this didn't pop out the ground, it didn't grow naturally. These were decisions that were made in our past, and even though we may not be responsible for the decisions that were made, we have to be accountable for those decisions if we want to move forward in our city. So we have to acknowledge what we have done to the east side of Greensboro, to the south side of Greensboro, if we want to move forward. That's first and foremost. And then we have to have a strategic plan that involves community at the forefront. So in this campaign, I've been talking about redeveloping the neighborhood Congress that combines all of the neighborhood associations from across the city so that folks can come together to create a vehicle that citizens and residents can use to push issues forward. Because Greensboro doesn't have a lack of infrastructure. What we have is a lack of organization. So we have to get better organized. We have to walk closer towards each other so that we can solve these problems. And we have to build trust not only with leadership, but with each other in our individual neighborhoods and communities, and then connect those across the city so that we can talk about best practices for how we solve these problems together, because we're all paying in, so we all have to come to the table to solve them together.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall.
Good evening. So like many of the folks up here on council, I'm new to politics. So one of the first things I want to do is whoever wins their races, we need to convene and talk to each other, because we have all been talking to you for the past however many months about what your needs are, what your hopes are, what you want to see in Greensboro, and what hasn't been done in Greensboro. Then we need to meet with our city staff. We need to talk about what is currently planned and what future plans are going forward. We've got to make investments in our critical infrastructure, our water and sewer, so that we, one, have the capacity for growth, and two, have the capacity for folks to invest in different parts of our community. And then we've got to look at the budget and see where are our dollars being spent. And the needs of each district are different. They're very different. And when we talk about equity and being equitable, that doesn't necessarily mean equal. We've got to look at where our money needs to go for folks in need in our community.
Thank you. Ms. Thurm?
Thank you for the question.
I want to broaden the question a little bit to talk about equity not only between districts, but within districts, because District 5 is extremely diverse, and we go from extremely wealthy areas to poverty areas. So we also have to look within our districts. When I advocate for District 5, I need to look at all pieces of District 5 and make sure that I also am looking at, even within the district, investing equitably. Several people have said that we need to talk, and I agree with Mr. Marshall that it's going to be critical for those of us that are on the next council to sit down together. I think every one of us has been out canvassing within our district or within our area. Quite frankly, I know what's important to my current council members now, but we're going to have lots of changes, and I want to make sure I understand and I hear from each council member, what have you heard in the past 6 months that you've been out canvassing? What are your pain points? Here are my pain points, and make sure we can talk through it together to come up with a plan. You know, we'll be seated, or the next council, assuming we, will be seated right as we're starting to budget next year. So it's a great time for us to be strategic, to share our ideas with one another, so that we can make sure that the upcoming budget year, we can start to address exactly what we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Robbie Perkins.
Thank you. I'm going to apologize because I don't have much voice left, but I'm going to use the voice as best I can. Now, I know that there is disparity between East and West in Greensboro. And when I was the mayor of Greensboro in 2011, I worked on a disparity study for this city. And that consultant identified items that needed to be done to bring more retail into East Greensboro. Identified that we did not have a good north-south transportation system. Identified missing links in our road system, in our water, in our sewer, and our sidewalks that needed to be fixed. Now that study has sat on the shelf for 12 years. I plan on bringing that study back out, and I plan on getting with our city council and identifying what we can get 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or even 9 votes to agree on, and then spend some money and get it done. This is not rocket science. This is about taking action. And this study has been on the shelf for 12 years. And you have, in East Greensboro, not seen the kind of changes that could have been done had our elected officials paid attention to a study done by a guy that went to Naval Academy, Wharton School of Business, and his job today is the head of real estate for Google.
Thank you, Robbie. Mary Kay Abuzaweda. Somebody give Mary Kay some power. She's got a lot of energy. I need her some power.
Okay, so, you know, it's great to talk about studies. It's great to talk about we all need to sit and talk and talk and talk and talk. But in relation to housing, I think you've heard a lot of passion behind me. And a lot of passion is about housing. And a lot of passion is about the community. And it's great to have a study from 2011. But you know what? Last time I looked, a lot has changed since 2011. And we need to make sure that we are up to date and use the innovative technologies and listen to the community. So we need to listen to our community. When we are in the community, when we go to the neighborhood associations, when I walk the neighborhoods, when I talk to most of you in this room, and if not, I'm always happy to. That's my personal phone number on my website and my information. And I am willing to sit down with anyone, and I want to hear from the community. What do you want to see about housing in your neighborhood? Sure, it's great to want to do a lot of real estate. I understand that. But we need to have strategic growth. We don't need to destroy neighborhoods while we're at it. We also need to make sure that we have the attainable housing, and that is for your public safety personnel, your teachers. We need affordable housing. Yanceyville Place, perfect collaboration between faith community, the city, and a builder. And we were able to help with that. And rents start at $435. You haven't heard that lately. So, you know, it's all about collaboration, boots on the ground, talking to the community, collaborating with everyone in the room, and trying to come to a consensus about what people want to see in their community.
Thank you. We've got our first Clarke card. Robbie Perkins.
Thank you so much. You know, if you've got a study that's 11 years old or 12 years old, and it's still relevant today because somebody hasn't done anything with it, whose fault is that? Now, I can modernize that study in about 2 minutes. Where are your north-south connectors in East Greensboro, like Holden Road and Westridge Road? They don't exist. 2, where is your grocery store? Your grocery store is going to follow connections. When you see grocery stores, they're at major intersections. And the grocery stores will decide where they're going to come in. Number 3, housing. 60 units is great, but we need 20,000 units. How are we going to get that? We're going to put a bond on next November's election. If we can get 5 people on this council to do it, because we've been saying...
Thank you, Robbie.
Hey, we got 2
Robbie,
minutes.
no, clock, it's only 1 minute, baby.
Well, the clock's running.
The clock's running behind me. I said 1 minute. I'm sorry, baby. If the folks in the back got it wrong, it's 1 minute. I don't want you to... You got to last.
Well, reset that clock then.
We will.
Thank you.
We will. And then Mary Kay done threw her other clock and sign up. Now, you got 1 minute. And Mary, we're trying to find you a workable microphone. Is that... No, that's not working. But I want her, because we don't know what's happening up there. We don't want Robbie, Sharon, no.
Check.
There we go. Folks get colds and all kinds of stuff.
We working now.
There we go. You threw your clock it up. You have 1 minute.
Great. So what isn't being said is what that north-south connector was trying to be, and that was going to tear the North Carolina A&T State University farm in half. And that north-south connector would have separated neighborhoods and would have separated our beautiful North Carolina A&T State University, and I cannot go for that. So that is number one. Number 2, housing. Sure, it's great to have real estate and developers. I actually want them to come, but you know what? I was able to help assist. I can't do it on my own. Finish the urban loop, and therefore there's like 900 acres in the east that is available for development. Let's do that. Let's leave the North Carolina A&T farm alone.
Okay. Now, I'm going to ask Brother Drumwright. Brother Drumwright, the Clarke card can be used twice only, correct?
3 times.
Oh, is it 3 times?
Yes, they have more than one Clarke card. And
So how many cards did you give them tonight, baby?
I believe they have 3 Clarke
Y'all
cards.
have 3?
Yes.
Okay, so Robbie, you're on Clarke card number 2. Okay, go ahead. 1 minute.
What I tried to do is to give North Carolina A&T State University a choice by finding $3 million and saying, guys, if you want this road that's already going through your property because you own the research park, and that's your land. And it was designed to go through. If you want some money to run it through the farm, here it is. And they made the choice not to do it. Now, that is good thinking. If they didn't want to do it, I didn't want to do it. But I gave them the choice, and I found the money, and we tried to get it done. Now, in terms of housing, put the housing bond on the ballot. Come up with proposals between January and November that will allow the citizens to see what's going to be done. And let's go vote for it, and let's put 1,000 houses a year on the ground.
Thank you. I got to clock it in the back. All right, Sharon Hightower.
So yes, when I got on council, that study did go on the shelf because as one of the ones who led the charge to stop the road with the community, the primary focus of that study was to cut the road through North Carolina A&T. It was to cut 3 minutes off of the fire truck on Franklin Boulevard to get over to Gate City Boulevard. It wasn't to consider anything about research, and the farm is a research farm, as you very well know. So that particular study didn't really offer any improvements. It made some quick connections, yes, but you don't sacrifice an HBCU that is teaching. But I want to share with you, it's still on the book, so we better stay watchful. And that's why he just said money is out there. So I fought to take some of that money away.
Thank you.
So I just want you to be aware.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you very much. I'm going to move to another question, and we're going. I'm going to go to somebody like Crystal Black. What actions will you take to ensure minority-owned businesses are included in economic development initiatives?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we got a problem with her.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can, baby.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
I will. What actions will you take to ensure minority-owned businesses are included in economic development initiatives?
So I think that there has been a pattern within our city that some minority businesses have opportunity and some don't. I think we have to invite all to the table. There are also some challenges with some minority businesses and availability. So we need to make sure that when we're reaching out to those minority businesses, we are working on their schedules and not the city government schedules. A lot of times we're offering opportunity during a time where if you're a small business, some of those small businesses are actually the ones working and owning the business. So if you have a 12 noon meeting, they aren't able to meet it. If you are selected by specific council members or departments as being a favorite, then it also shuts out other opportunities for other small businesses. So inviting them all to the table to find out where their challenges are and how we can support them, I think will move our small and minority businesses forward.
Jamila, same question.
I want to make sure I heard the question correctly. What actions would I take to make sure minority businesses are included in economic development?
Correct.
I would look at it as a three-prong approach. One is how do you want to be involved and included? And when I'm talking to a lot of minority businesses here in Greensboro, when I've spoken with a lot of minority businesses, one of the things is I would echo what Crystal said is we have to get outside of operating 9 to 5, or I wouldn't even say 9 to 5, 8 to 5 hours. Because when people are trying to either grow their small businesses, they're in the business of doing the business and don't have time to look up. So one is saying, what is the best way to communicate? How can we communicate? Two is connecting them to the resources that's available. And I don't think a lot of people are aware of Piedmont Business Capital that can help individuals. Because again, when you're looking at what are some of the things that prevent individuals from being able to be competitive to be in those spaces, it may be bonding, it may be insurance, it may be, oh, my accounting is not where it needs to be. So taking it from those steps, because I believe a lot of people have stepped in.
Thank you, Jamila.
Okay.
Thank you. Tammy Thurman. Why are fast food chains and corner stores, known smoke shops, more accessible than fresh produce in certain parts of our town?
Quite frank,
It's on.
thank you. Quite frankly, it's folks taking advantage of folks a lot of times. You know, once we pass a zoning for a retail establishment, we can't, as long as an establishment is within the correct zoning code, we don't have an opportunity to turn them away. That's not, if they're within zoning, they don't have to come to us for permission. I think a lot of it is economic, or lack of good economic development planning on the front side. I think part of it is getting to some of the corridor studies and the work that we are doing on corridor studies so that we can say to developers outside, from the outset, what we want and what we don't want.
Thank you, time. Cece, same question.
So we may not have much control over the zoning, but we have control of our own folks. Like, we have a control of our voice. And I think that it is, it's been the case of most communities not knowing what's being built in their community to be able to stand up and say, we don't want it, right? And so one of the things that we have to do when we're sitting in the seat is to make sure that our communities know what's coming before it gets to zoning. So we can show up to 200 strong at those zoning committees and say, this is not what we want, or we only want it in this way. It has to be a fight, and we have to use our voice, and we have to organize, and we've got to do it together, because they're just going to keep doing it. And I agree. I don't want any more smoke shops, you know, no more of the crappy stores. I want some stuff I can actually use and that my family can use, and that it doesn't drag down my community.
Thank you. Mr. Perkins, same question.
You know, there are, I don't like the smoke shops at all, but the Dollar Generals and the Family Dollars, we've got an opportunity here because they are located throughout the community. Now, what if we started a national movement, another national movement right here in Greensboro, and we talked to those places about putting fresh fruits and vegetables inside their stores? The stores are already there. So why not have a conversation and say, we will partner with you to provide things that the neighborhoods need? That turns a lose-win situation into a win-win situation. And it's something that I think is possible because these large national companies are paying attention to the disparities that exist in Greensboro and across our nation.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, we have heard a lot about affordable housing, but what about the treatment of those currently unhoused?
Yeah, so
It's on.
So obviously we have an unhoused problem in Greensboro, and it's a national issue. We have got to work with the various stakeholders that operate in this area, the IRC, HELD, Sanctuary House, one, to kind of get a coordinated effort to attack this in a unified way. I've talked to folks like Tim Rice, who's the former CEO of Cone Hospital, who's trying to lead this effort in coordinating these different groups and bringing them to the table to get this type of effort going. And we have to address our mental health issue in Greensboro, because that can lead to chronic homelessness of our citizens. And frankly, we also need the county to step up. They are Health and Human Services, and they need to step up.
Thank you. Same question, Sharon Hightower.
So there are efforts currently underway to help our unhoused. As you know, the city has invested in pallet homes, which give unhoused individuals somewhere to stay in the winter, but now they moved it to where they now need they can have somewhere to stay in the summer. We have to continue to invest in those types of opportunities as well. In addition to, we do partner with the county. We have a homeless task force that meets regularly and identifies best practices, and we have to invest. We have to put money to that, because simply talking about it is great, but you gotta make sure that you have the solution that will be one that will help those individuals that are unhoused. And so we have to continue to invest in that space to make sure that they have a roof over their head. That's HUD's program, Housing First. And once you have Housing First, you can start to stabilize.
Thank you, Sharon. We've got our Clarke card. Cece?
Not counter. So when I'm talking to folks in the COC and IRC and all the other acronyms and alphabets, one of the things that I'm worried about, that I don't like, is the fact that we are not looking at how the money is spent effectively and how we are tackling the issue of homelessness. One of the things that I've heard an issue with is the HMIS, and I may have that system wrong, but we don't have a network, a solid network of tracking where people are going, and so we are losing people within the gaps. That ain't good. And we also need to talk about the fact that we are going to see a burgeoning tidal wave, a tsunami of homeless folks if we don't start to look at how we are preventing evictions. Today I saw a couple of men who were coming out of the pallet homes into regular homes and could not stay there because they were not prepared for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Abuzawaiter, are there any plans to set aside funds for crime prevention, or will all funds continue to pour into programs after youth have entered the juvenile justice system?
So what we need to do is to be able to work with our judges, our DAs, and we're doing some of the things right now in order to be proactive. So this has taken a long time to get to this point, but if you will notice, the police department is going out building relationships in the community. One simple thing they are doing is they are taking their grill team and they are going into neighborhoods to festivals. They're cooking so the kids come up and start talking to them, and they're trying to make get a relationship going with the kids. So it's all about building those relationships. That's how we can be proactive. And we really need to listen to the young adults and the children, because they are the ones who can tell us what can we do in order to make things better for you so you don't even get into that system. We don't need to tell them all that, but we need to listen to them. I want to do a youth summit. We had one about 15 years ago, and it was amazing.
Time. Thank you. Thank you. Irvin Allen, same question.
This is an interesting question, because I think we know what the issues are. We know that it's about folks being able to find employment. We know that it's about having our youth centered in the programs that they want to see developed. And then we also know that we can't solve things with just cookouts and hot dog dinners in our communities. So we need the police department to be more engaged and involved, and we need to start using the resources like they have started to do to invest in the community. So we have programming, we have the violence interrupters, we have different programs that exist that are actually funded through the police department, and we need to expand that. And the only way that we can do that is if we start to go through the dollars and find out where we're actually spending our money, and then reallocate that to our youth, because we can't make any changes with just talking to folks. We have to provide opportunities. We have to make sure that they have the resources and the education to be able to step up.
Time.
And then,
Thank you. I would like to say that these questions, for the record, are coming from the audience, and these are some awesome questions. So I want to thank the audience. Please keep them coming. Jamila, I was going to say, somebody pick Jamila's sign up for me. What will you do or what do you want to do for high school kids and their safety?
Involve them in the conversation. And I think involving them in the conversation is give them something to look for. So in budgets previously, there was participatory budgeting. And I would love to be able to see how we can get funds, not just from municipalities, but how we can look at other funds that can be matching funds to be able to say, this is a problem that we have. Here's the finances to figure out how we can do it, and allow them to come up with the solutions. Because again, we keep having conversations talking around the group, but we're not involving and bringing them along with the solution. So I would love to be able to continue to do that. I participated in the 500 jobs for youth with the police department a couple of years ago. I did that, didn't know I was gonna be a camp advisor for a summer with a bunch of 14 and 15-year-olds. But through that experience, it really just showed me even more. We have to involve them, ask them what they wanna see, and then when we ask, give them the resources to be able to do it. Because you can't assess and not address. And so addressing is saying, here's some money. So I would give them money.
Thank you, Jamila. Thank you, baby. And we've got a Clarke card next door. Miss Crystal.
I think we continue to talk about youth and their safety and not really address the environment in which they are growing up in. And so when we talk about housing and we talk about neighborhoods and how they're developed, that's where safety is originally starting with a lot of our kids. So we can throw all the programs we want to at them, but until we start designing spaces where they are safe from the beginning, none of those programs will ever work. We need to look at how we are designing our housing, the atmosphere in which our kids are raised in, and I believe that will create safe spaces for them.
Thank you. Mr. Marshall, same question.
I agree with Ms. Black. I mean, we've got to address our planning from a city side so that we don't have one concentrated type of housing in one or two districts. We need a diversification of housing. We need so that we can have mixed income housing. That's how we get more sustainable neighborhoods. That's how we get investments in communities. We have to be able to have that upward mobility and different types of housing products within our community.
Mr. Perkins, what would you do for high school kids and their safety?
You know, one of the things that we have to do is we've got to communicate with the high school kids. And I can tell you that high school kids communicate with each other and with us differently than what we do. So my concern is, how do we get the word out that there are opportunities for these kids? Do we do it on Twitter? Do we do it on TikTok? Do we do it through texting? We've got to be innovative in terms of finding ways to reach out and touch the kids and tell them about what opportunities there are in Greensboro for them to do great. Because without hope, without a path, then you go down the wrong path. Communication is the key to getting these kids in the right direction.
Thank you. You brought up Dollar General and Dollar Tree and Family Dollar, and you started a tidal wave up here with these questions. Like that's what we're supposed to live from.
No.
The Dollar General, Dollar Trees, and Family Dollars are not evenly distributed, and we want to know specifically what your solution is to change this. Mary Kay?
So, my solution is that we need to support our small businesses more, our mom and pop shops. We need to support our entrepreneurs who go into the neighborhoods. We need to stop having all the franchises and corporations that are of certain products and certain merchandise going into different neighborhoods, going into the same neighborhoods. So how can we do that? Well, if it's zoned for commercial, they can pretty much put what they want to there. But I would like for us to be able to look at what is good for the community And if the community has had enough of the Dollar Generals and enough of the Family Dollars and enough of the Dollar Trees, then we need to be able to have a mayor who can express that to those corporations and those companies and make sure that they hear us loud and clear. Because, you know, I would much rather see our small business owners, our small entrepreneurship, the ones who are just delving into entrepreneurship, they are the ones we need to listen to.
Time. Sharon Hightower, same question.
So one of the things we got to do is look at our zonings. A lot of properties, as Councilwoman Abuzawaita mentioned, are already zoned. And so businesses move right in and you don't have a clue. Look at the Murphys on Randoman Road. It just popped up because it was already zoned. We got to go back and look at our zoning. And one of the things I'd like for us to do is combine our planning, our zoning, and our neighborhood development department under one umbrella, so that you're looking at it more comprehensively on what neighborhoods need and not just have a dollar store pop up. And so therefore, we've got to start creating more of an idea of how our neighborhoods ought to look and value our neighborhoods. So a few years ago, I tried to do a moratorium on dollars. Well, that was kind of not illegal, to not have so many dollar stores, because you're right, there are too many. But if we start to look at our neighborhoods and do some flexible options of zoning,
Thank you, Sharon.
we can do that.
Mr. Allen, same question.
So I think what we have to do is have an actual vision of what we want our city to be. And that includes bringing folks to the table so that they can be a part of that vision. And once we set a vision, we need to firmly direct staff to draw up plans for how we want to make sure that we're developing and getting the things that we need in our neighborhood. So it's about setting a clear direction and making sure that our city is trying to be the incubator that is building businesses and inspiring young folks to keep their businesses here and to buy their homes here. And those businesses will take the places of the Dollar Generals that are in our communities if we make sure that we are investing, make sure that we're creating revenue and access to funding for folks to be able to prosper and look at Greensboro as an opportunity to start their family and to grow their business and to build Greensboro as a place where we want to make sure that we are leading in development and growing our businesses.
Thank you. Crystal Black. Black people are 42% of Greensboro's population, yet black people are 66% of all traffic stops. How do you plan to address this disparity?
So I think first we have to bring our police department to the table to have that conversation. I know that there are some community activists within our community that have had discussions, and my discussion with them is I think that we have to start with everyone at the table. When you look at the data and statistics, a lot of times it's parceled out by who's the speaker in the room. But when you bring all of the speakers in the room at the same time, and you can then come up with some collective decisions. I do believe that the regulatory stops that we have, according to the data that I was given at one of our last meetings, is concerning. But there's more data to that comes to the table that can be more comprehensive to say, well, what happened with those regulatory stops? What was the result in those regulatory stops, so that we can have a comprehensive look at why the target is there, why it is specifically targeted among
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Same question is going to Tammy Thurm.
I'll try to finish because is that on? Because I agree with Ms. Black. I think there is a lot of data that we need to look at comprehensively with a full complement of people representing both the police department, city management, as well as people in the community. To get quick snapshots of data one way or another way without looking at the full picture of what precipitated stops, how they happened, what was the result of the stop. It's very difficult to make a broad brush decision. But I think it comes with involving the police, the community, and council together at the same table.
Thank you. I've got a Clarke card. Brother Urban?
I am a fan of data, and I've become a fan because there's so much data on this topic that we've collected. We started a campaign in 2017 around addressing these stops, and the community organized, brought data together, presented the data, and made recommendations that were adopted by the GCJAC, which is the Greensboro Criminal Justice Advisory Committee, for us to end regulatory stops, which we did in 2018 until another commission was studied that tried to refute the data. So we have plenty of data and have collected that data. We've assessed that data for almost 10 years. And that's just me personally, because in the city, organizers before me have carried this fight. So I think we have the data that we need. We also have the recommendations that we need, and we have examples from other communities here in North Carolina and across the country that have made the changes and have provided models for community leadership and policing that we can follow.
Thank you. Adam Marshall, if it was legally possible, or is it legally possible for city council members to hold sessions at schools in their district to identify issues in the community?
So one of those questions I don't know the answer to. I don't know if it's legal to do that. But I think we need to be having conversations with our communities more than we're doing right now. One of the things that I have told folks when I'm meeting or if I have an event is that I'm going to be somebody that listens. And what I don't know, but I will be somebody that listens to you, and so that you, as a community, feel like you have a seat at the table. And I think that's what we need to do as council members. We're elected to represent you all in our various districts or across the city. And that's what we need to do. If it was legal, and I don't know if it is, I would be open to doing that.
Okay. Since that is a question that came and we don't know if that's legal or not legal, we're going to pass that question and go to Robbie Perkins. What is your view on environmental issues? Bingham Park. Is cap and cover sufficient, or do we need full remediation to protect water and soil and the health of the residents?
You know, that's a really interesting question, and I've been following that issue carefully. And I've talked to people all over the community, and most folks that I talked to said, if that was on the west side of town, we would fully remediate it. Now, I would want to be consistent on the east side of town. So my thinking is that we need to revisit the issue. We need to figure out how much it really costs. And I'm talking about getting the best and the brightest together and figure out what we can do. And then let's go find the money and do it.
Mary Kay?
So I spoke with one of our state legislators today, and she was saying that we need to make sure we use the money, the $10 million from the state, because it goes away next year. Now, with the current administration, I have a fear that we're not going to get any money. We're not going to get $40 million, $52 million to fully remediate. However, when I'm mayor, we will make sure that we find other ways to find that money, because, yes, I want to cap and cover now because it's dangerous right now. And we have $11 million to do so. So we need to cap and cover, but we need to start searching for the money to be able to fully remediate and take that soil far, far away. It distressed me when the communities were really upset about it. And yes, I said we need to cap and cover because of that money we had. But there is no reason I can't start going and trying to find that money. Our state legislators will help. I have some contacts in Washington I can have help us. So we need to find every which way we can to fully remediate Bingham Park.
We've got a Clarke card up top, Ms. Black, and we got another Clarke card. So we'll start with Ms. Black.
I think that there's just a lack of accountability of how the landfill landed in this community. This was a decision made by the city council at that time. There is some accountability that has to be had by even the current city council and the city to address this without looking at the state, given the few little dollars that it's given to solve the problem. I know that this cannot be done by just state or federal money. One of the reasons that they said Greensboro's responsible is because the city council decided that limits the funding. But to say that capping and covering is the answer is not the answer. It's full remediation, full stop. This community deserves the same quality of life and quality of living as as West Side has. East Greensboro has suffered enough.
Thank you. Ms. Hightower.
So let me say, as one who went through this whole process about being a part, full remediation has never been taken off the table, period. The money we asked for from the federal government was $40 million. We got 10. The money we asked from the federal government was $40 million. We got 1. That money all had a clock on it. So in order for us to start anything, we needed to go head on and begin to move forward. This is not the end. Bingham Park will be fully remediated. When we find the dollars, if it takes a bond that we have to do across the city for citizens to vote on that bond to be able to get that full remediation done. But this just starts our process. It does not stop what needs to really fully happen. And I've always been in favor of full remediation. And so we're gonna find the money. The money's coming from somewhere. If it has to come from the city, it comes from the city.
Thank you. CC, same question.
As someone who sits on the Park and Rec Board Commission, we voted to support the community that was asking for a full remediation. It was $40 million then. It'll be more going forward. And we have a history in this city of saying we're going to do something for Black communities, and it never comes to fruition. So it worries me that if we do the cap and cover now, especially if 4 more years down the road we get a more radical, more conservative council, that this will never happen if we don't do it now.
Thank you. We've got another question. This is very interesting, and this may be asked of each of you. Do you think being endorsed by a PAC helps you? I'm going to start with Ms. Thurman.
Endorsed by a PAC can hurt you just as much as it helps you. And you know, it all depends on what PAC, what constituents. I'm proud of the fact that I have been endorsed by everything from, you know, police and fire to Guilford for All. And I tend to, in the past, I've disappointed the PACs that have endorsed me at times with the way I voted, and I've also supported them. So I think part of the endorsement process with a good PAC is knowing that you're somebody that they can work with and that they can partner with on projects. It doesn't guarantee a vote, and it never guarantees a vote. But I think they can hurt or help.
Adam?
I think being endorsed by any group that's asked is a good thing. They are putting their trust in you. They're expressing their support. Like Ms. Thurm said, you know, I've been endorsed. I mean, last week I got endorsed on one day by the Replacements Limited PAC, a very progressive PAC in Greensboro, and then the Police Benevolent Association. What that should tell folks is that I'm somebody that can work with our community as a whole. And so I think that they are generally good things, and they should tell the community that these folks are behind the particular candidate. They believe in what they're saying, and then the candidate has to live up to their elected responsibilities as well.
Mr. Irvin.
I think for me specifically, I am not going to accept an endorsement of an organization that I don't align with, and so I'm not going to tell you two different things in two different conversations. When I speak in front of you, I have been very open about my beliefs and carry those on my sleeve and through my work. And so if you're a fan of that, then absolutely, you should endorse me. If you're not a fan of that, then you should not endorse me. But your endorsement also doesn't make me beholden to you. So I think that it can be helpful if you would like to align with the work that I've done. And if not, then you shouldn't endorse me.
And before you speak, Tammy Thurm, I was correct. I've been saying Thurman. I am so sorry. It's Thurm. So please forgive me.
Not a problem.
Jamila.
It goes back to your values, your personal values, and I would say some of the sentiments that have been echoed here, I would say the same thing, leading with integrity and being able to stay on that, and so not being swayed this way or that way. And I have a track record of being able to say what's in the best interest of those we're serving and having those honest conversations. And so, again, being able to work along across the aisle, so to speak, and work with this individual or that individual, but again, leading with integrity is important for me.
Crystal?
I would continue to echo. I think that if you are leading with integrity, then you can't be influenced by a specific PAC. However, we do know that PACs have special interests, and we have to also be aware of what those special interests are and how we are going to align or not align with them. But I have had endorsements from one side to the other that seem, on two opposite sides. But when I sit at the table with each and every one of them, I'm honest about what place I'm coming from, and I'm also honest with letting them know that I can't be bought.
Cece?
Yeah, so I think all of my endorsements pretty much reflect alignment along my issues. So 3 PACs and a number of labor unions, all folks that I've worked with for years now. And what it means is, though I am not beholden to them, they know that in closed doors, I will be saying what it is that we are aligned on, and they can trust that I won't be stabbing them in the back behind closed doors. So if you go out there and you look at my sheet, you're going to see labor unions, you're going to see WOA, you're going to see GCC, a pack of historic activists, civil rights activists, people that I am very proud to be aligned with. There are very little wealthy people on that sheet. And now you can add Replacements Limited, and you can add Working Families Party, and you'll see where my alignment is.
Thank you. Sharon?
So again, I think it's some of what Cece has said too. The PACs that did endorse me, I align with their values, and they know what my values are. I cannot be bought, period, by anyone. But they've seen the work. The union workers, our Black community has seen the work. The business community has seen the work and know what the work is and the mission is. And so being endorsed by someone like that says, okay, we've seen you, yes, and we believe what you're trying to get done, but it has to be a support mechanism, not just one time at an election. You can't just endorse somebody today and walk away tomorrow. It has to be collectively work all throughout, because the work does not stop after the election. It starts harder than ever after this date.
Mary Kay?
So every interview I've been in, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is a PAC. But the residents in Greensboro are my PAC. And they are the ones who will either vote me in or vote me out. And, I could not sit in there and promise I was going to give money to this certain agenda, or I was going to make sure that this agenda got moved forward. I couldn't do that, and I won't do that. What I fall on is the fact that I have had 14 years, and every item that comes before me, I research. I go to, I speak to people, I listen to people. That is the most important part. I know I've made a good decision when I can sleep well at night. And there's only one night in 14 years that I didn't sleep well because I voted the wrong way. And I'm going to admit that here right now. And I went back and changed my vote.
Robbie?
You know, the PACs, I'm proud to be endorsed by a number of PACs. And PACs interview all of us and we compete for their endorsement. Now, the realtors, the builders, the Triad Apartment Association endorse me because they know I understand housing and how to get things done in the housing realm. The Simpkins PAC endorsed me. They've been around 60 years, and those African American leaders carefully look at who they can trust to get things done. The Police Benevolent Association, the Greensboro firefighters, who's gonna back them when the going gets tough. And a non-PAC, the Greensboro News and Record, endorsed me on Sunday.
Thank you. Clarke, where is it at? There we go. Mary Kay?
As I said, when I'm in every single interview, I will not promise that I will do something for them. I will take each item, I will study it, and I will reject it if the need be. That's what you want a strong mayor to do. I do not need a line of 10 endorsements because the endorsements aren't going to get me anywhere. The people are the ones to get me, and the people are who I listen to and I report to, and I will keep my integrity, my character, and my ability. I'm accessible, I am active, and I am in the community listening to the people.
Okay. This is a good question. Irving, what steps are being taken to prevent the displacement of long-term Black and brown residents as neighborhoods are being redeveloped or gentrified?
That is a great question, and unfortunately, we don't see enough steps taken to protect our communities. But what we can do as our communities is organize. We can build our neighborhood associations. We can join the neighborhood Congress that we'll rebuild after this election. We can make sure that we are practicing what we need to do in our communities, and then look to our council to direct them on what we need to see in our communities, because I think it starts at home, on your street, your neighborhood, getting to know your neighbors and rebuilding those connections. And then I think that we can move on to make sure that we are electing folks who will champion those resources that we need in our communities, so that we can get things like character zoning for our neighborhoods, so that we can make sure that we're aligning our values with how we are developing. And I think that that is what we can do to make sure that our neighborhoods stay protected from the development as it comes, because it is coming, but we can make sure that.
Thank you. Jamila?
I would say the steps that we're currently taking is that I am currently working with our legal team, our legal department, looking at what does an anti-displacement policy look like for our community, because again, it's not if the development is coming, and we want to make sure that we are not displacing our residents. So that is currently actively being sought after, and we're looking at other models across the state and looking at seeing how we can use best practice to be able to establish an anti-displacement policy.
Thank you. We've got a question that has been given to me 3 times in 3 different handwritings. So I'm going to ask this question. I'm in District, well, it says District 4, but that's not District. I'm in a district where there was an ice cream shop on Randleman Road, and now it's gone, and there's a vape shop in its place. The community would have liked to have been polled What can the community do to make this not happen again? Crystal, I'm gonna start with you.
I think we can start by not creating plans that kind of continue to perpetuate the same cycle that we have on Randleman Road. Randleman Road area plan was developed in 2015 originally. There was nothing done on that plan, so it was just a piece of paper put on a shelf. It has been pulled off the shelf and reinvented, but kind of says more of the same. But I think that Randleman Road should have been more of a redevelopment plan where the city would actually invest in some of those properties that are abandoned. One of the things that we hear from developers is they are hesitant on developing on Randleman Road because they don't know what's going to happen next door to them. But if the city would actually invest and buy some of those vacant properties like the Church's Chicken that continues to have the boards ripped off of it and other vacant buildings that have been there for decades, I think that you would have more confidence built by developers to be able to come in and actually provide quality retail.
Tammy Thurm.
One thing I would like us to do is to work with the state legislature to allow us to create incentives for incentivizing the type of business we want in places. We are able to incentivize big projects, big goals, but the small little businesses that we want and that residents want, we don't have a real good way of incentivizing those. They don't meet the requirements for our incentives and our incentives packages because they may not be big enough, a big enough investment, et cetera. And I think we need to establish and come up with a new approach on incentives to incentivize the kinds of businesses that we want in certain areas of the community.
Sharon Hightower's got to clock it up.
So I would just like to say, while incentives are great, we need to make sure we're investing in lending institutions that can help our small businesses. Those small businesses have barriers. They can't go to a Wells Fargo and get a loan because of so many requirements. But if we continue to invest in our CDFI, Piedmont Business Capital, who helps our small businesses right now, that allows those resources. They are able to tap into them for them to create a business. You know, I know there are Nuts Mom Centers there already, but that is not what most businesses are looking for. They're looking to be in a sustainable space so they can hire employees and be able to take care of their family. But we have to make those lending resources available to them to make it easier. And the city can invest in that by putting money where they will have access to get those resources.
Okay. Got another great question. Mary Kay, do you think families who have law enforcement complaints and the incident in question is captured with a police body cam, should the family have immediate access to the footage?
I know that the person who is in the video can immediately watch the footage. Also, their legal representative can be with them. Now, as for family, if they're underage, yes, but if they're adults, no. So that would take something to be changed by our state legislature, because that right now is, I mean, even for the body-worn camera to be released to the public, we have to go to Superior Court and have our city attorney ask for that. That's what happened recently in a case. So yes, if the person is underage, their parent can be in there with them. And if not, the attorney can be in there with an adult. So that is the rule right now, and that is the way it is done. If we want to change that, we need to go and ask our state legislators, and I will be happy to do that because I think the family should be able to view it.
Robbie?
You know, I think that's a good answer to a question. We have to follow the law on the city council. We can't do something that's against the law. And the legislature sets those rules. And if we think that they need to be changed, we can petition the legislature, and they typically do what they want to do. So I would say that that's a worthwhile discussion to have on the council. And if the majority of the council decides that that's what they want to do, we can put it on our legislative agenda and push for the change.
Cece?
Yeah, I'm a little confused because I believe the last time that happened, Amon and the two cousins that were in the car did not get to see the footage before it was released. We wouldn't have even known what happened had they not been recording inside of the car, and the police decided to counter the narrative that we saw from that footage. And so, yeah, we've got some work to do because I hear what the law is, but it is not applied equitably across Greensboro, especially not in East Greensboro.
Urban?
And just to piggyback off of CC, that's absolutely correct. So my answer would be yes, the family should be able to see those things. It is a state law that is prohibiting us from releasing video footage. But at the same time, I think that the way that we got that law was because Greensboro wasn't bold enough to actually release the footage when they had the opportunity to. The first time that we went, well, it wasn't the first time, but the last time that we went through this process, before the law was enacted by the state, Greensboro had the opportunity to release footage and chose not to. They chose to leave it to the state to make the decision, and we knew what the state was going to decide. So I think we need bold leadership that will be ready to act, and now that, that the state has acted, we need leaders who are willing to advocate and who are versed in the issue so that we can tell the truth to not only the state legislator, but to all of you.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes, I think the family should be able to see it. But two, we have to follow the state law. And until that changes on this issue, our hands are tied. We absolutely should advocate and can advocate, but we cannot do something that is against the law, and that is the state of the law right now.
Okay, thank you. We want our young people that graduate from college, one of the 7 colleges and universities from this city, to stay and become a part of our community. What are you going to do about the slumlords who price gouge, rent out these substandard places for students? And I'm going to start with Sharon Hightower.
So one of the things that I would like for us to do is to go back to the state and ask for RUCO to be re-implemented. And RUCO was taken away by the state. It's Residential Uniform Certificate of Occupancy that used to have to be issued before you could rent a unit again if somebody left it before it could be rented, and the city had that control. But the state took it away, and so the landlords that are the terrible landlords are taking advantage of that by renting property sight unseen. And so that's one of the things that we need to get back. But we here at the city can also make sure that we are insisting that landlords treat our students better. We can't control rent because that's another state that has a law that has stopped us from rent control from 1984. But we at the city can stand up. We can increase our fines.
Stop.
Code enforcement
Thank you.
as well.
Thank you very much. CC, same question.
Yeah, so that's the work that I do for work, the way I pay my bills. And basically, what we've been asking for is to strengthen code enforcement, 100%. Raising the fines doesn't mean anything if we're not collecting them. And so we go to complexes and make sure that tenants know how to fill out code compliance cases, right? These complaints. Most people don't know their rights. We, as a city, can work with our legal entities to make sure that tenants know their rights. Second of all, we can work hard to hold these landlords accountable. In Durham, high school students advocated for landlords, slumlords, non-compliant landlords, to have a hold on being able to rent units if they are not in compliance. So there are things that we can do. We just have to be brave enough and not worried about having our charter yanked to be able to hold them accountable.
Thank you. Crystal?
I think we have to have some accountability with the city that exists now. We have reduced the fines for landlords. The collection of those fines has been missing, and the response of our city has been missing. It seems that the only time that apartment complexes get attention is when they go to the news. And that's a sad response from our city departments and our leadership. When we are tenants in apartments and we are being, and the landlords are being coveted by council and by department leaders, we cannot get the action that we deserve. I've brought to the city to come up with some commercial code ordinances to hold commercial businesses and landlords accountable. That has been ignored for 2 or 3 years. So I think the wheel of ignorance lies within our city sometimes on how we respond and how we treat our residents that live in these type of communities.
Jamila?
I currently work in housing as well as my full-time job. But some of the things that we are actively doing in the city is we are looking at, like we said, code enforcement, enforcing the policies that we have in place. The second thing is, so we are looking at that. We're actually looking at some commercial ordinances as well. And so how do we have commercial ordinances that we can hold some of our commercial landowners accountable? And then again, a lot of this stuff doesn't happen overnight. So these are laws that we are governed by, that we have to follow from a state level, but from a local level, continuing to have the conversations and then looking at how we can tier to some of the things that we're looking at in terms of enforcing. So our biggest thing is shared accountability and enforcing the policies that are put in place right now.
Thank you. Mr. Irvin?
Absolutely. So we have to connect with the most impacted folks in our communities, the folks that are living in these places. We have to make sure that we're listening to them and that we're taking our direction from them. We've seen just recently in the news our council now trying to impact the way that we are inspecting homes and making sure that properties are ready. So we need to make sure that we have leadership that not only understands these concerns, but is willing to advocate, willing to pull people together. And when we do find these slum landlords, then we need to make sure that their names are known far and wide across the city so that we can make sure that they're being held accountable with the tools that we have, which is publicly making sure that they're well known for what they've done, and then making sure that we're advocating to find the landlords that we can take their place to make sure that once we
Time. Thank you. Thank you. Mr. Marshall?
So we have to strengthen our code and we have to enforce the code. And we have to do that better. We have a complaint-driven code enforcement policy. So one, we need to educate our tenants on their rights so that they know how to make a code enforcement claim to the city. And we need to enforce our code uniformly. It is inherently unfair when it is complaint-driven. So education and then uniform enforcement.
And I've got a Clarke card, Ms. CC.
Yeah, so we've been seeing a lot of students in court over the last 2 weeks being evicted. This is how they're entering the world, right? This morning I saw a senior, she's about to graduate in December, and just needed one more, like $100 more to make her rent. and she's going to be evicted. Now, how is she going to graduate if she's on the street, right? So there's also got to be a conversation with our universities and our colleges with these really huge freshman classes where there's not enough housing, and they're at they're being victimized by these kinds of landlords. We can help some of the mom and pop ones fix up their complexes with something called rehab to rent. It's been done in other states where we have a third-party vendor to help them fix their properties, and then they lower the rent for the families that are living there as a way to repay the loan. We can work together.
Thank you. There's a question that has come up regarding the city manager. And you as a city council, do you feel as though the city manager should work for you or should work with you? Do you feel as though the city manager and his team should work for you or with you? I'm going to start with Robbie.
Well, the form of government that we have gives the city council 2 employees. 1, the city manager, and 2, the city attorney. So obviously the way we're structured, the manager has to work for the council. That's just the form of government that we have. Now, the council, the city manager has his job because 5 city council members think he's doing a good job. If 5 city council members think he's not, they can replace that manager. So the manager is always trying to look and get the consensus on the council before they move forward. And when a manager has 7, 8, or 9 votes, they can move forward pretty aggressively. If they've got 5 votes, they kind of tippy-toe along.
Mary Kay?
The city manager works for me and with me because you've got to have both. He is one of our 2 employees. However, with the current city manager, I have worked with him extensively on different projects. We're working on the road to 10,000, trying to get the community together to rally behind getting more units, getting more developers coming in. And the reason is we've never had a goal before on things like this. So yes, he works for us, but we must also work with him, because how are we going to express what we want to get done in the city if we can't sit down and talk to him one-on-one? He is great about talking one-on-one with council members, and then we can all come together and say, yes, this is a great idea. He does bring ideas to us. That is his job. But also, we need to be able to work with him, and he is not just an employee. He is also someone we work with in order to make Greensboro the best it can be.
Ms. Hightower?
So I would say that not only should he work for us, but he has to work with us and the community, all of us together. Yes, he may have his own ideas, but really his job is to carry out the vision that the council has come up with that has come up with this community on how they want to see this city run. So he has to be doing the work that city council expects him to do, and he has an obligation to do. But it's also not just for 9 people. It is for the 3,000 employees that he oversees and the 300,000 city residents that are here in the city that he must be working for as well. So we have to make sure we pick the right person, and I think the person today has a fairly good understanding of his role and what he must be doing to encompass how we grow this city better.
Thank you. Crystal?
I think the city manager's office should be working with council. It seems that a lot of times he is directed to do things that he may not agree with, and they may not be in the best interest of our community and what the community wants. Council can tend to have too much power, And a lot of times that power trickles down into decisions that the community is not welcoming. So I would say that the city manager should be working with council and not necessarily always directed by council, because it hasn't worked out for us in a long time.
I've got a Clarke card, Mr. Adam.
So the answer is yes to both. And the city manager has to answer to us, or there is zero accountability. If there is no boss supervising the employees, then things can go awry pretty quickly. We are the body that the city manager and the city attorney answer to. If we don't do that, there is no accountability.
I've got a Clarke card by Crystal.
I think we could use the city attorney's office as an example of being accountable to our city council and not necessarily running the way that it should be. So there needs to be accountability beyond council, because it is a singular way of controlling what happens in our city. So if we don't have some accountability in our community and the way that the city manager and the city attorney works, then we will end up in the papers time and time again.
Tammy?
I agree that from a city council standpoint, the city manager works with us and for us both. I think he also works very much so with the community, because we expect the city manager to be in the community as well as council being in the community to hear what's being said.
Cece?
I think it's like a geometry problem. Council works at the behest of the city, our residents, our constituents, and if the manager works for the council, then he works for the people. And so while I think that he does need to work with us, I come from corporate. There's a hierarchy, and you work through that hierarchy. And so there is some work together. Like if he's got great ideas, that's great. But the buck stops at the city council in the decision making, because the responsibility is going to stop with the city council when there's a problem, or not usually when there's something good. But I believe in hierarchy, and the city manager should be accountable to the city council, and city council should be accountable to the constituents.
Mr. Allen?
Absolutely, and I agree with Cece. We are elected by you to set the direction and the vision for the city. And then the manager's job is to make sure that that vision is implemented throughout the staff. And so the manager absolutely has to work with us, but we should also be working with the community. I believe in collaborative governance, and so I think that we should all be working together, but there does need to be accountability, ability for the manager, and it would be the council that you elect to set that vision.
I have one last question, and it's a yes or no. Yes or no? If there are no SNAP benefits starting in the month of November because of government shutdown, and we must go long-term with this, do you think the city of Greensboro should help with funding citizens with food? Yes or no? I'll start with Tammy.
Yes.
Adam?
Yes.
Irvin?
Absolutely.
Jamila?
Yes.
Crystal?
Yes.
Cece?
Yes.
Sharon?
Absolutely yes.
Mary Kay?
Absolutely yes.
Robbie?
Yes.
I love it when you all say yes. We're going to do closing remarks, and during your closing remarks, you've got 1 minute and a half, I think, a minute and a half. But in that minute and a half, I'm going to take a little liberty and ask you to add into your closing remarks. No matter who wins, I will refuse to give up blank in the community. No matter who wins. I'm sorry, people are sending me messages. What is that saying? Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Do I need to repeat anything? We got it. Tammy, we're going to start with you, sweetheart.
I'll start with, no matter who wins, I refuse to give up on our permanent supportive housing project with wraparound services to support the homeless community. That's something I've been working on for quite some time, and I'm finally getting it moving forward and working towards that goal. It's something I've been committed to for a long, long time, and it's something we desperately need. As I've said many times in many different forums, I'm here to represent my district, to represent the people of the city, to make our city better. One of the basic tenets of my religion that I take very seriously is it's our obligation to heal the world. I can't heal what's happening in Washington. I can't even heal what's happening in Raleigh. I can do my damned best to heal what's happening in Greensboro, and that's what I'm committed to. Thank you.
Adam?
So I am Greensboro born and raised. I'm running in District 4. I've lived in District 4 my whole life. I was educated in our public schools, the Sternberger, Kaiser, and Grimsley. This is home. It's always been home. It's where I came back after law school. I am passionate about this city. I have spent the last 10 plus years serving on various boards and commissions of all different types and learning about the city and how the city operates, what it does well, what it doesn't do well. I am uniquely positioned for somebody that has never run for office to hit the ground running on day one. No matter who wins, I'm not going to stop listening and fighting for you all. That's our job, no matter who's elected, is to listen to you all, the constituents.
Thank you. Irvin?
So I'm Irving David Allen. I am running for Greensboro City Council at large because this city is all I know. I was born and raised in this city. I went to Lincoln Middle School. I went to Dudley High School. I went to A&T State University, the illustrious. Greensboro is me. I was born and raised in this city. I know every part of this city. I've been on all sides and done organizing work in every part of this city. Touched boots on the ground in every district. And we've brought people together. And I think that that's been the core of my mission in organizing. And that's what I want to bring to council, is to bring folks to the table, to get you more engaged and involved so that you can take ownership of the work. Because it's not going to be just the 9 folks that you elect. It's going to be all of us coming together to do the heavy lifting, and that means us all putting our hands in the dirt so that we can make that heavy lift a little bit easier. And so that is what I want to focus on, and I can promise that I won't leave you behind. Regardless of the results of this election, I've already lost an election in 2017, and I've continued to do the work. And I will continue to do the work because that's all I know. I was born into it. I said happy birthday to my father. He's raised me to do this work. My family has been a part of this city for 3 generations. So all I know is Greensboro, and I don't know how to stop serving you. So I want to continue to do that, whether it's on the dais or whether it's standing in the street or at the podium that I'm so familiar with.
Thank you. Jamila?
I would like to say that I am made in Greensboro, and this has been a very humbling experience going through this whole campaign, because a lot of the work that I have done in this community, I've done in the shadows. And nobody has realized the work I've done to making sure people had access to health care, making sure people had access to housing, making sure people had economic mobilities. And this is hard for me to step outside of the shadows to be able to say, hey, we can do this collectively as a community. So one thing I will not stop doing if I'm in this seat or if I'm in the seat or not in the seat is giving up on the people of Greensboro. I've had an opportunity to travel the country and work on many projects to be able to help other communities be able to have opportunities to thrive and want to be able to have the same opportunity here. So I'm always going to be in service of community, regardless if I have the seat or not. And hopefully when you vote for me, you realize that you're voting for yourself as well, because I am that person that will stand in the gaps for you and have a proven track record of doing that. in the shadows, but trying to come from behind the shadows to be able to say, we the community need it, and we need it more than ever. So hopefully you consider me.
Crystal Black.
Born and raised in Greensboro, I am a Dudley graduate. I am a Panther at heart, but I'm also an Aggie at heart as well. I have been here all of my life. I raised my daughter here, and I will continue to do the work that I have been doing. I have fought for underserved communities most of my adult life in Greensboro, from working with our 2018 tornado victims, to making sure that children have shoes on their feet, to making sure that our Dudley High School stays sustained with the things that they need through financial dollars. I have worked in this community continuously to make sure that the underdogs win. So me not winning will not stop that. My road and path in life is to make sure that people who are the voiceless have a voice, and that you can stand up and fight for the things that you want. In this seat, in which I hope to win, I will continue to do those same things, but my work doesn't stop because of a dais seat.
Cece.
My name is Cecily C.C. Crawford, and I'm running for Greensboro City Council, District 2. I am from the district in which I am running. I am born and raised by a family of educators and business owners. We've got skin in the game. This is personal to me. So no matter who wins, I refuse to give up grassroots organizing with my community. I ran before, and Goldie beat me by 121 votes, right? I could have gone home, I could have cried, I could have licked my wounds, but guess what I did? I dug in. I became the chair of labor and industry, and I worked with unions to make sure that our city workers got paid a living wage-ish, and were able to fight for their benefits, and a civil service board that some nefarious folks at the state cut our city workers off of. We gonna get them back on there, so that there is an appeal process, like the young lady in the city attorney's office who needs to have that power right now. It was also with working with Lisa McMillan in Northeast Greensboro around bringing resources with What's in Your Hands. It is with Keep Gate City House working to keep people in their homes and look at policies that make material changes, guys, not murals, not city paintings. These are material changes, policies that can't be or shouldn't be undone to help our folks. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Hightower.
So I am Sharon Hightower, and I'm running for re-election for City Council. And there will be some people who say, oh, it's time for you to go, but there's a lot of work that has been done that I'd like to see come to fruition. Some of this work takes a minute. While I'd like for things to happen overnight, they don't. And so between fighting state laws and regulations, knowing how to maneuver around some of that, we've gotten some things in the works that have been done. There are people who didn't want us to have Windsor Chavis, but we pushed the bond to make sure our community has those catalyst projects that are going to improve our whole area and make a difference. And so I've been here working for people, and what I'd like to do to continue to help improve that quality of life that I've been working toward, whether it's housing, more sustainable housing, it's creating home ownership for people who want to have generational wealth, and making sure they have those dollars to get down payment assistance on those property homes that they want to buy. So those things, that quality of life, make a difference in a community. Economic empowerment, helping our small businesses, working with the state to get a small business enterprise that is now going to help our small businesses be able to grow their capacity.
Thank you.
So that is why I'm
Thank
running.
you, Sharon. Thank you. Mary Kay Abuzawader.
Yes, so thank you. I've thoroughly enjoyed being here this evening. I appreciate everyone's attention, and also our moderators and the Citadel for hosting. So I want to say that I've been in Greensboro my entire adult life. I've raised my family here. My children went to Washington, Lincoln, Dudley, and then, yes, one was at Page. But, it's been, a journey that I would never, ever give up. I've worked in the community. Some people say, don't talk about when you lost your election. Back in 2007, I lost. But you know what? I didn't stop working in the community. I stayed in the community. I was still working in the East. I was working in the West. I was working North, working South with community organizations. And I want to continue that work. And I want to be a voice for everyone. Now, that sounds like an impossibility, but yet we can do it together. We can make Greensboro one. We can make things across district lines equitable for everyone. It always hits me in the face when I drive down South Elm Eugene and I think of Warnersville, that used to be an amazing community with small businesses, and then the government redeveloped that and tore everything down. We can't have that happen in Greensboro. We need to be able to build up our communities. We need to be able to bring back the small businesses. We need to be able to support all of our minority businesses. So that is my goal, and MaryKayforMayor.com.
Thank you. Robbie?
Yes. When I left office in 2013, I had to be positive about our city. And what I will not ever do, win or lose, is stop being positive about the potential of Greensboro, North Carolina. Now, I worked on economic development and I worked on at-risk youth. Those are the two things I've done the most of the last 12 years. And I want to come back and I want to lead this community because we've got unfinished business. We have to restore respect in this country. And we start with Greensboro. We have to restore transparency in Greensboro. We have to restore accountability in Greensboro. And we've got to communicate better with all of our citizens so that we can achieve the goals that we have identified in this campaign, that of housing, public safety, infrastructure, and planning. If we restore respect, if we are transparent, if we are accountable, and we communicate, we can achieve success in all of those goals. Robbie Perkins for mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all. At this time, I'm going to ask your host, our host, Pastor Drumwright, to come forward and again, thank each and every one of you. It's been an honor to get to know you.
Let's hear it for our moderator and these fine candidates. Can you join me by standing to express our gratitude for this long road and this campaign trail that they've been on, and for accepting our invitation tonight. Also, thank you again, Dr. Spencer. Remain standing. Everybody shout this at me. Go vote. Go vote. I said shout it. You said it. Shout this back at me. Go vote. Go vote. Greensboro, you just heard appeals from your very next mayor and your very next council. Now, your voice is your vote. Use your people power to make sure that not only you vote, but that everybody who knows you that lives here votes as well. Educate folks based on what you've learned and learned here tonight, and let's go vote. Now through Saturday at 3 p.m., so for the next 5 days, through Saturday at 3 p.m., you can vote in one of 6 places and register yourselves. The courthouse, Brown Rec Center, Burr Mill Clubhouse, Jamestown Town Hall, Greensboro Coliseum Special Events Center, and Lewis Rec Center. And then, of course, E-Day is November the 4th. I want to thank Mr. Scott Johnson and our event manager, Nick Searcy, here at the Greensboro Coliseum Complex. I want to thank them for opening up this fine venue, and I want to encourage everybody to pray for these candidates. it has been really tough on them. They're looking amazing tonight, but they've attended probably one too many. And again, they had the courage to step over here to the City Council Summit. Lord, we honor you and we thank you. We ask that you would bless each and every one of our courageous candidates, even those that are not here, as they have put themselves out to stand up for various concerns and causes in our community. We pray for the future of Greensboro, North Carolina, and not just on this side or our side, but all sides. Do we want your love, your grace, your peace, and your protection to guide our leadership? And additionally, we pray for those who are in the path of the hurricane right now in the Caribbean, and all those who will wake up tomorrow in a cold Greensboro without proper shelter. God, we pray for the disadvantaged and those who seem to be forgotten from day to day. I pray in Jesus' name. Amen. God bless you. Grace and peace. All of our young people to come up here. Well, they're coming down to you to shake hands. Your next internship could be up here, your next job opportunity, and I want to encourage our candidates to engage with them as well.